the house. मेरे हुस्न दी मेरे हुस्न दी तू मैनू पुछदा ही नहीं.
Hi everyone out there, I am Sipho Ngcobo, your sports guru. Catch me live every Saturday morning from 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. Only on Nirvana World FM. Your beat, your music. Danko.
The views, opinions or comments expressed on this program does not reflect the views, opinions or comments of the radio station or its management.
You are tuning into Sports Geek with Sipho Ngcobo, only on Nirvana World FM. Your beat, your music.
Bravo, 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 bravissimo, let's all celebrate. Bafana, 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 bravo, bravissimo, we all celebrate.
February 2024. Wow, the month of love is finally very much with us. Talking of the 3rd of February, wow, the stage is set. The quarterfinals of the AFCON 2023 are still very much with us. Bafana, they are in the quarterfinals 2023, believe it or not. During the week, they set the headlines when they beat the #1 ranked team in Africa, the 2022 FIFA World Cup semi-finalist that is in the form and shape of Morocco. Hey, Morocco this. Hey, Morocco this. Bafana. Yeah, that's a tupa. 2 goals. That's how that was the state of affairs when Bafana took on the FIFA 2022 FIFA World Cup semi-finalist that is Morocco. That was enough to see Bafana marching on to the quarterfinals. Tonight they will be taking on the Blue Sharks, that is Cape Verde. Kickoff for that game is 10 o'clock South African time. It is gonna be a cracker indeed. We saw last night Nigeria, they're already waiting for that winner of that Bafana Cape Verde winner in the semi-finals. The stage is set. This 2023 AFCON doesn't stop going and throwing surprises. Who is going to be come tonight 10 o'clock when Bafana lock horns with Cape Verde? We remember that Bafana they've played Cape Verde 5 times, of which 2 of those times Bafana won them, and then equally so Cape Verde won the other 2. Only 1 game was drawn. One thing certain, come tonight we'll have the new record. One team will definitely have to win tonight, as the draw is not going to be the order of the day, as Nigeria is waiting for that winner. Come at 10 o'clock it will all be revealed. Bafana they take on Cape Verde in the AFCON 2023 World Cup, AFCON rather, that's currently held up in West Africa, Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast if you like, that is in west of Africa. Diving straight to F1, that is a motor or racing. The 7 times world champion, that is Lewis Hamilton, who's currently driving for Mercedes-Benz. The news that broke out yesterday is that Lewis Hamilton, come end of this season, he will be joining, guess you what? He will be joining Ferrari. And what did that do to Ferrari's share? It saw Ferrari's share jumping by a whopping 7%. You convert that 7% rise in Ferrari's share after the announcement of Lewis Hamilton that he'll be joining them. If you convert it to a monetary value, it gives you, listen to this, 94.4 billion rands. My. That followed the announcement of Lewis Hamilton that he'll be joining a Ferrari. That's what it did to a Ferrari's share. It shot sky high with a whopping 7%. You put that in rand value, 94.4 billion rands. That's what happened last night in Ferrari's share, thanks to that announcement of Lewis Hamilton that he will be joining Ferrari. Halala South Africa, halala Bafana. Where will you be come tonight at 10 o'clock when Bafana gets their quarterfinal underway as the Lockhorns with the Blue Sharks of Copa Verde?
South Africa, we sing our song with vuvuzelas. The flags are flying. South Africa, we sing our song.
Sangena Bafana, Sangena South Africa. Get those vuvuzelas ready. Get those makarapas ready. Get your green and gold kit ready. The stage is set. Come tonight, 10 o'clock. Halala, Ronwen Williams and Hugo Bruce, as they will be leading the mighty Bafana. Come tonight. Elsewhere, West Indies, they finally won the test match down under, that is in Australia, thanks to superb bowling of Shama Josephs that saw him taking a back-to-back 5-wicket haul. That was a great bowling indeed by Shama Josephs. That saw West Indies winning the test game for the first time, listen to this, in 27 years. West Indies had never won the test match in Australia, but last weekend, Sunday, they did that thanks to that superb bowling of Shama Josephs. West Ivory Coast, Kisaki Shabagamo, Gabona Bafana, Kargi Shabagamo, Gabona South Africa. Every corner you turn in West Africa, that is Cote d'Ivoire. You look this side, all you will see is Bafana faithfuls. You check this side, Bafana faithfuls are out in numbers. I'm talking about Abo Mama Joy, I'm talking about Abo Bota, I'm talking about Abo Saddam. They are there in numbers to back our boys. So as the Minister of Arts, Sports and Culture, that is Honorable Zizi Kodwa. Shapa Bafana Bafana Shapa. Trapa Bafana Bafana Trapa. Still with cricket, England's tour to India continues today. We are on day 2. Still with cricket, things are happening in as far as the under-19 cricket World Cup. We saw the home side host South Africa qualifying yesterday for the semi-final slot when they brought Sri Lanka to the sort by 113 runs thanks to superb bowling of Kwena Mpaga. Just when you thought Wayne Parnell was aging, guess what? It looks like we might have the replacement for Wayne Parnell in the foremanship of the teenager that is Kwena Mpaga. The boy is something else. Whoa, he's bowling. Just go and check his figures. Still with the cricket, don't forget that Beltway SA20 things are also taking shape there. It looks like the teams for the semi-finals slot knockout stages are already starting to take shape. Also, we saw what happened yesterday with the Pearl Royals as they took on the defending champion, that is Sunrisers Eastern Cape. Wow, what a performance by the champions. But just stick around, we'll dissect all that and more with our sports analyst in the foremanship of Modiba Peter. Come 12 this afternoon. Just to touch base there with the little bit of football news over the weekend, we heard some interesting news in as far as the coaching department is concerned. It's not all the time that we get to hear such a big names in as far as coaching is concerned that come end of the season they will be departing. We start at Anfield. We find that the news that are coming out of the Liverpool camp is that their manager Jurgen Klopp come end of the season he will not renew his contract. That is Jurgen Klopp. It is confirmed that come end of the season he will definitely be leaving Anfield. He will definitely be leaving Liverpool. And just across the ocean we land in Spain. Another news that are coming out of Nou Camp and the Catalans is that the Barcelona coach Xavi has just confirmed that as well, come end of the season, he will not renew his contract as a Barcelona coach. Do you think what I'm thinking? a taste of what happens behind the scenes as the players geared up start and get themselves geared up for the forthcoming games. That's how the players sing in the locker rooms just to get that adrenaline kicking in their system so that they can be ready to take on whoever that comes their way. Surely that's going to be the order of the day come around about 9:30 this evening as Bafana will be gearing up to lock horns with the Blue Sharks of Cape Verde.
Akeke kapela ma Chaba sama sandawana Akeke sapela mata Akeke sapela ma Chaba sama sandawana
Sichaba sa South Africa, asafel never sifele matla. No matter what happens tonight, our blood will remain green and gold. Will remain Bafana faithfuls will remain favorites or fans rather of South African sports.
Akeke kapela matla 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 Kesichaba sama sandawana
A very good morning and a warm welcome to you wherever you are within South African borders and beyond. We've got you covered. Don't you worry about a thing. All you have to do is sit back, relax, and allow us to entertain you. You are tuning in to Sports Geek with Spodelo Ngobo, only on Nirvana World FM. Your beat, your music. You can always get in touch with us on our studio WhatsApp line number, which is 07 333 The studio WhatsApp line number again is 07 333 TikTok and Facebook, we are there as Nirvana World FM. Talking of socials, you might as well follow me on my social platforms at Spodelo Ngobo across all social media platforms. Thank you so much to my colleague, that is DJ Powen, who brought us 10 keys. That was between 10 and 11 o'clock. Catch him again next week, Saturday, same time, same place. Don't you dare forget to bring along those dancing shoes as DJ Powen will get everyone on the dance floor, you included. That's when your dancing shoes will definitely come handy. Don't forget to thank me later for that advice. You and I, we are together from now till 1 p.m. Not that I'm complaining, I just love the sound of it. That's how they roll in the township. We'll kickstart our show by looking at the English Premier League. Things are happening out in the English Premier League. Like I did mention at the beginning of the show, that come end of the season, we are told that Jurgen Klopp, the Liverpool manager, will definitely not renew his contract. We also saw during the course of the week, we saw the mighty Reds stretching their lead to 5 points as they beat the mighty Blues. There is Chelsea. Wow, things are happening, are definitely taking shape in as far as the English Premier League. We'll look at the English Premier League. We'll also look at your Spanish league. We'll get to see what's happening in that part of the world in as far as the Spanish football is concerned. We'll check whether Girona is still leading the pack in as far as Spanish league is concerned. And then don't forget that we'll also, if time permits, we'll also look at what's happening in Italy. We'll look at Serie A. We'll get to hear and see what's happening in that part of the world. We saw some couple of games that they took place last night in Spain and Italy. We've got all that and more for you in store. And we'll also be checking whether Girona is just a surprise package, because the last time we spoke, Girona, they were leading the Spanish log standings. So we'll be be looking at that, whether they're still sustaining that. And don't forget, as far as Spanish football is concerned, another talking point is that Almeria, my. After 22 outings, Almeria still have not won even one game. Seriously? Who does that? We've got all that and more for you when we return. Don't forget that 12:05 we'll be in conversation with our sports analyst in the form and shape of Modiba Peter. This time around we will speak to him telephonically. He's not in the studio with us. All that will happen at 12:05 this afternoon. much to La Meshla. They gave us Charles Webster. Surely, if you are an Amapiano fan, you can relate to this song. It will definitely sound familiar to you. Why? Simply because the Amapiano pioneer, that is Kabza De Small, has done the cover version of this song. I'm sure if you recall, it goes by the title of Akasafuna Ukulala, Akasafuna Ukukhumula, Ubejava Phezu Kwetafula, Alexandra. That's how that Amapiano song goes. It is the cover version of this song. So surely don't be deceived or be taken for feel that you are taken for a ride if you feel like this song. That's how this song sounds familiar, but the lyrics are completely different. It is Kabza De Small who has done the cover version of this song. That is La Meshla, Charles Webster. That is the original club mix, and then Kabza De Small decided to do the cover version of this song. Time now, it is 40 minutes after it is 40 minutes after 11 o'clock. Let's quickly for a breather let's quickly go and pay you some commercials. When we return, we will dive straight to the English Premier League.
Ever heard a baby bellow at the top of its lungs in a public place, far from your best music track, right? For a more beautiful note, contact Nirvana Sounds for your studio and live recordings. We engineer sound to perfection according to your specifications. We ensure crisp and clear audio-video conversions and delight your function with sound, stage and lights for hire. Our quotes are pleasurable to the ear. Contact us now on 083 945 7664. Nirvana Sounds, powered by Gospel World FM.
Looking to upgrade or repair your desktop or laptop? With over a decade's experience, TV Master specializes in software installations, data recovery, restores, PC rebuilds and conversions from VHS to USB or DVD. For no obligation quote, contact Pre on 011 855 6738 or 072 7706 796. TV Master, the name you can trust.
Imagine a world with hunger. Now you can change it. With Ashraful Aid, just 10 Rand feeds a hungry person. Visit www.ashrafulaid.org and donate a plate today. Your generosity changes lives. Let's feed the hungry together.
Now, diving straight to English Premier League, we look at the game that will kickstart the English Premier League come this afternoon. We'll see Tottenham, they visit Everton this afternoon. That game is scheduled to get underway come 2:30. And then at 5 o'clock, we'll see Crystal Palace, they visit Brighton. While Newcastle welcome the haters, that is Luton Town. That game is also scheduled to get underway at 5 o'clock. Still at 5 o'clock, Fulham will get their match underway with Burnley as they visit them this afternoon. At 7:30, the Aston Villa has got a date with Sheffield United. And then tomorrow we'll see Manchester United, the Red Devils, they've got a date with West Ham. That game gets underway at 4 o'clock at Old Trafford. Still at 4 o'clock, we'll see the Mighty Blues, Chelsea, welcome Wolves. And then Nottingham Forest, they visit Bournemouth, while the big one that will see number 1 versus number 3, that is Liverpool, who are the current log leaders in as far as the English Premier League is concerned. They welcome the 3rd place Arsenal, that is the mighty Gunners. That game is scheduled to get underway at 6:30 tomorrow at Emirates Stadium as the mighty Reds visit the mighty Gunners. It's going to be a clash of the table indeed, as Arsenal welcome the ruthless Liverpool. We saw what Liverpool did during the week to Chelsea. They thrashed them by a whopping 4-1 thriller. Why? Wow. Chelsea, they were the first one to find the back of the net, but Liverpool, they had other ideas. They came back, equalized, and they just never stopped scoring. They went on and put 4 goals past the helpless Chelsea that was on Thursday. So if you ask me, Liverpool, by the look of things, it looks like they will love to give their manager, Jurgen Klopp, a nice send-off come end of the season. As I did mention at the beginning of the show, that come end of the season, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has confirmed that he will not be renewing his contract. So surely Liverpool players, they will love to give their manager a send-off. And then tomorrow we'll get to see Manchester City, the defending champions, as they visit the mighty beast, that is Brentford. That game is scheduled to get underway at 10 o'clock on Monday. Let's try and see if we can get hold of the log standings and see who's leading the English Premier League standings. Let's try and see. But it looks like I seem to be not winning. But let's see what I can come up with. Oh yes, it looks like we are winning the English Premier League at the moment. Liverpool are sitting at the summit after 22 outings. They've got 51 points. The defending champions, Manchester City, after 21 games, they've got 46 points. They're sitting at number 2. They're tied with Arsenal, both of them sitting at with 46 points. But Manchester City, they've got a game in hand. At number 4, we've got Tottenham. After 22 outings, they've got 43 points. At number 5, Aston Villa, 22 games, they've got 43 points. At number 6, West Ham, after 22 outings, they've got 36 points. Number 7, Manchester United, after 22 outings, they've got 35 points. At number 8, the Magpies, that is Newcastle United, after 22 games, they've got 32 points. By the look of things, it looks like our Liverpool, they are definitely running away with the English Premier League. Should they beat Arsenal tomorrow in that number 1 versus number 3 clash, it will definitely be some kind of a done deal that Liverpool, they might just go all the way and win the English Premier League this time around, which will definitely be a nice send-off to their manager, which is Jurgen Klopp. Like I did mention, that he is definite, it is confirmed that he's not changing his mind. Even if Liverpool were to win the English Premier League, he has made it clear that his mind is made up. He is living Anfield, come hell or high water. So we'll be watching the space, especially come tomorrow. How will that Liverpool Arsenal game pan out come tomorrow? was Tony Kazachuna giving us a song titled Basics. That's exactly what Bafana Bafana will have to apply tonight as they lock horns with Cape Verde. They'll just have to apply the basics on how to absorb pressure, on how to turn defense into attack. We're talking transition. That's what's going to be happening come tonight as Bafana Bafana lock horns with Cape Verde. They'll have to apply basics in as far as football is concerned. All will be revealed come tonight as Bafana Bafana take on the mighty Blue Sharks of Cape Verde.
Looking to upgrade or repair your desktop or laptop? With over a decade's experience, TD Master specializes in software installations, data recovery, restores, PC rebuilds and conversions from VHS to USB or DVD. For no obligation quote, contact Pre on 011 855 6738 or 072 7706 796. TV Master, the name you can trust.
Ever heard a baby bellow at the top of its lungs in a public place, far from your best music track, right? For a more beautiful note, contact Nirvana Sounds for your studio and live recordings. We engineer sound to perfection according to your specifications. We ensure crisp and clear audio-video conversions and delight your function with sound, stage and lights for hire. Our quotes are pleasurable to the ear. Contact us now on 083 945 7664. Nirvana Sounds, powered by Gospel World FM.
Imagine a world with hunger. Now you can change it. With Ashraful Aid, just 10 Rand feeds a hungry person. Visit www.ashrafulaid.org and donate a plate today. Your generosity changes lives. Let's feed the hungry.
We are still tuning in to Sports Geek with Spodolong Ngobo, only on Nirvana World FM. Your beat, your music. We are coming to you live from our Lenasia studio. That is at the south of Johannesburg, not too far from Lenasia Secondary School. That's where we are based. Now we're diving straight to Spanish football. There is a La Liga for you. We saw last night Atletico Bilbao thrashing Mallorca by 4-0. And then today it is Spanish. There is football. That is the La Liga continue as the winless Almeria visit Valencia. Remember that at the beginning of the show, I did mention that Almeria, after 22 games, they have not won even one. And tonight, today, they are visiting Valencia. My. It looks like it doesn't rain, but it pours in as far as Almeria is concerned. At the second place, Granada, they welcome Las Palmas. Why Alaves has got a date with the defending champion, that is Barcelona. Girona, they welcome Real Sociedad. And then tomorrow, we'll see Cadiz visit Villarreal, while Celta Vigo also visit Osasuna. Real Betis welcome Getafe, and then the Madrid derby will see the current local leaders, that is Real Madrid, as they welcome their across town rivals, that is Atletico Madrid. That will be trying by all means to try and see if they cannot steal some points from the current local leaders, that is Real Madrid. And then on Monday, the La Liga fixture will be closed by Sevilla as they visit Rayo Vallecano. That's how the Spanish football looks like this weekend. Still with Spanish football, let's look at the log standings. At the summit, we see that Real Madrid is there, followed by Girona. Both of them, they've played 2 games, but it looks like Real Madrid, they've got a 2 points lead. They've got 57 points, while Girona, they've got 55 points. Atletico Madrid, who will be taking on Real Madrid in that Madrid derby, they're sitting at number 3 with 47 points. At number 4, the defending champions, that is Barcelona. After 22 outings, they've got 47 points. At number 5, we've got Atletico Bilbao. Number 6, Real Sociedad, and then at number 7, we've got Real Betis, and then last but not least, at number 8, we've got Valencia. That's how I think things stand in as far as Spanish football league is concerned.
The only thing that does matter is great music, and you will find it here.
Never heard a baby bellow at the top of its lungs in a public place, far from your best music track, right? For a more beautiful note, contact Nirvana Sounds for your studio and live recordings. We engineer sound to perfection according to your specifications. We ensure crisp and clear audio-video conversions and delight your function with sound, stage and lights for hire. Our quotes are pleasurable to the ear. Contact us now on 083 945 7664. Nirvana Sounds, powered by Gospel World FM.
Looking to upgrade or repair your desktop or laptop? With over a decade's experience, TD Master specializes in software installations, data recovery, restores, PC rebuilds and conversions from VHS to USB or DVD. For no obligation quote, contact Pre on 011 855 6738 or 072 7706 796. TV Master, the name you can trust.
Imagine a world with hunger. Now you can change it. With Ashraful Aid, just 10 Rand feeds a hungry person. Visit www.ashrafulaid.org and donate a plate today. Your generosity changes lives. Let's feed the hungry.
Thank you so much to Clubland. They gave us that gem, Hold On. It is the 3rd of February 2024. Thanks God, January is finally behind us. For a moment, it felt like January was never gonna end. But we pulled it, we hang in there, we held on there, we finally made it to February. That's why I say, thanks God, finally, January is behind us. Now we're diving straight into Italian football, and when we get there, we find Serie A. We are sitting on a match number 23 rather. I'm always now thinking of, I was tempted to say 2023. What match is that? We are sitting at match number 23 in as far as Italian football is concerned. That is Serie A. We look at the game that I played last night. We saw Fiorentina going down by 2-3 against Leeds when they visited them. And then today, Serie A continues as Udinese welcome Monza, while Empoli welcome Genoa, Frosinone welcome the 3rd place AC Milan, while Bologna welcome Sassuolo. And then come tomorrow, we'll see Torino welcome Salernitana, and then the defending champions, that is Napoli, will welcome Verona. Atalanta has got a date with Lazio. And then the big one for the day, we'll see at the top of the table clash, number 1 versus number 2. That's why the current log leaders, Inter Milan, will welcome the 2nd place Juventus. And then come on Monday, we'll see Cagliari welcome visit Roma, which has just been dumped or just fired their coach in the form and shape of the special one, that is Jose Mourinho, who is reported to have joined the Saudi Arabian team that is playing in the Pro League. Still in Italy, let's look how the log standings in that part of the world. At the summit, we've got Inter Milan that who are leading the Italian pack. At number 2, we've got Juventus. Number 3, AC Milan. Number 4, Atalanta. Number 5, Roma. 6, Lazio. 7, Fiorentina. 8, we've got Bologna. And then surprise, the defending champions are not in the top 8. That is Napoli. They are sitting at number 9. Things do not look good indeed in as far as the Italian defending champions are concerned. Let's quick go for a breather. When we return, if all goes well, we will be in conversation with our sports analyst Modiba Pete and hear what he has to say in as far as Australian Open, Proteas, cricket, AFCON. Did I mention AFCON? Did I mention the game that took place last night, Nigeria, when they took on when they took on our neighbors from the SADC region, that is Angola. Modiba has got all that in store for you. So all you have to do is hang around, and Modiba and I will definitely keep you informed and more importantly, entertained.
Where it always feels good.
Esta noche bailamos, te doy toda mi vida.
breathing anymore. Don't let the world in outside. Don't let a moment go by. Nothing can stop us tonight. Bailamos, let the rhythm take you over. Bailamos, te quiero, amor mío. Bailamos, wanna live this life forever. Bailamos, te quiero, amor mío, te quiero. Tonight I'm yours. We can make it happen, I'm so sure. Now I'm letting go. There is something I think you should know. I won't leave in your side. We're gonna dance through the night. I wanna reach for the stars. Bailamos, let the rhythm take you over. Bailamos, te quiero, amor mío. Bailamos, wanna live this life forever. Bailamos, te quiero, amor mío, te quiero. Whoa, tonight we dance. Whoa, like no tomorrow. Whoa, if you will stay with me. Te quiero, mi amor. Quédate conmigo. Esta noche bailamos. Let the rhythm take you over. Bailamos, te quiero, amor mío.
Balamo, that is none other than Enrico Iglesias. Oh, wow, this artist is very, very talented. By the way, he's also an actor and he has sold more than 160 million copies worldwide. Still with Enrico Iglesias, surely you can guess who is his dad. Yes, you got it right. Enrico Iglesias, he is the son of none other than Julio Iglesias. Wow, you got that one right, absolutely. And now we're diving straight to our discussion with our sports analyst, Modiba Peter. Let's try and see if he is on the line. Modiba, are you there, Baba?
I'm here, Simonello. It's a very good afternoon to you and the team behind the scenes, as well as the listeners. Thanks for having me on this wonderful Saturday morning. Looking forward to dissect and wrap up what took place midweek and what will be taking place this upcoming weekend.
Thank you very much, Modiba. Without any further ado, let's cut down to the chase because it looks like our sports bag, our sports news, we've got a lot to dissect. So let's get down to the business of the day. At the summit, let's look at cricket. Starting at home, let's look at Betway SA20 teams. Things that seems to be taking shape in as far as the semi-final slots are concerned, as far as the knockout teams, the top four that will be participating in the knockout, in as far as Betway SA20 is concerned. That seems to be taking shape for a change. Modiba, talk to us. What's happening in that front, in as far as Betway SA20 is concerned?
Yeah, it's very interesting because teams here, the main business here, look at teams like Durban Super Giants, Sunrise Eastern Cape, the defending champions, Paarl Royals, MI Cape Town, Joburg Super Kings, as well as Pretoria Capitals. There's the main business, and we saw on Thursday Pretoria Capitals hosted MI Cape Town there at Centurion there, and we saw them. Pretoria Capitals posted 214 for 8 after 20 overs, with MI Cape Town having posted 248 for 4 after 20 overs as well. But Pretoria Capitals were managed to win that one there by, in fact, MI Cape Town managed to win that one by 34 runs. So they did so well on the day. And then we also saw in some of the fixtures that will be taking place this wonderful afternoon, there's MI Cape Town up against Pretoria Capitals, the match kickstart at 1:30, and there's Joburg Super Kings up against Joburg Super Giants at 5:30. The very same Saturday as well. Tomorrow there's Sunrise Eastern Cape, the defending champions, up against Paarl Royals. So the game will kickstart at 1:30 as well. So in terms of the long standings, I see that Joburg Super Giants that are state top, or having played 9 matches on 32 points, and the Sunrise Eastern Cape they're second with 24 points, having played 8 matches, and Paarl Royals at number 3 with 22 points, having played 8 games as well. There's MI Cape Town at number 4, having played 9 matches but with 13 points, alongside Joburg Super Kings at number 5 with 13 points. They also played 9, I think net running rate here separate the two sides. So I think we'll have to wait and see who gets to finish 12th between this, fourth between these two sides, MI Cape Town as well as Joburg Super Kings. And lastly, we've got Pretoria Capitals at 10 points with 9 matches having played. So very interesting for me, but by the looks of things, because Joburg Super Giants they're left with my one match, so definitely they've qualified for the top 4, Super 4 that is left for them. Let's see if they will be able to do well, just like they did in this wonderful round robin.
Gauteng teams, they seem to be struggling. They seem to be having a season to forget. Look at Johannesburg Super Kings. So as the last season's finalist, that is the Pretoria Capitals, who are rooted at the bottom. What's happening? Things don't look good in as far as Gauteng teams are concerned, Modibo.
I wonder what's going on, because things are not looking good. You look at how they've been losing matches. Joburg Super Kings have lost 5 matches and Pretoria Capitals 6 matches. So, and they're left with 1 match. There's no way they're going to overtake. Joburg Super Kings, they only can take MI Cape Town because they're clocked on 13 points, both of them. So Pretoria Capitals already they're out of the equation. So it will be left with Joburg Super Kings as well as MI Cape Town. Although mathematically, Pretoria Capitals, if they are to win, they will only remain on 12 points. So it's not looking good. So their last hope will be on Joburg Super Kings, and MI Cape Town will be saying we want to be amongst the cut of top 4 there. Of Sunrise Eastern Cape, Paarl Royals, Joburg Super Giants, definitely they will be within the top 4 teams. It's going to be interesting when one looks at this completion of the matches that will be taking place this upcoming weekend, and even next week when I come in, I'll definitely alert the listeners what is taking place with regard to the semi-finals and look ahead to the finals as well.
Still with the cricket, now we're going straight into the Under-19 Cricket World Cup that is taking place in our own backyard. South Africa, they seem to be spitting fire, and they seem to have gone all the way and secured themselves a semi-final slot in as far as the Super 6 is concerned.
Most definitely. Speaking of that, we saw them playing against Sri Lanka yesterday, and they managed to post 232 for 8 after 50 overs. And there's a player there who did so well there. And the Pretoria, so what a performance there. Pretoria is there scoring 71 runs from 77 balls. Is the player who did exceptionally well. And then I looked into Sri Lanka, so all the day they didn't pitch up there, as they only posted 115 runs after 23.2 overs. So when I'm a park, I think they lose the situation.
Oh my, that boy. That boy,
I can assure you, Shukri Conrad must take a look at that player, because this is the future Proteas prospect by the looks of things. Although he's still young, but definitely he should be amongst the players who will be playing in the T20, because the way he's just winning us wickets, and the way he can bowl and he can bat at the same time. So he's a versatile player for me. So very fantastic. He had a superb game yesterday. So yeah, as we won that game by 119 runs. So, and if I can just alert the listeners how the Super 6 is working. There's a team that is amongst Group A, Group B, Group C, as well as Group D. So the winner of the first Group A there, which was India, had to face number 2 or number 3 of Group D. Similar with Group B, which is South Africa as well there, has to face the opposition in Group C there. And currently, in terms of the 6 teams that are appearing there, we see Australia, Sri Lanka, West Indies, England, and Zimbabwe. They are amongst South Africa, and South Africa is doing so well there. So currently they are rooted second. So as we've got 2 groups there, so top 2 teams, both Group A and Group B, will definitely play in the semi-finals. So which is definitely taking place next week. So when I come back as well, I'll bring the feedback of that particular semi-final and look ahead to the final as well. But yeah, so with South Africa, very impressive so far.
Very impressive indeed as far as the South Africa Under-19 team is concerned. Still with the South Africa Under-19 team, that boy, Kwena Maphaka, the way he's taking wickets, Surely he's definitely. I'm happy you mentioned that he's definitely one for the future. Currently in this World Cup, he is the leading wicket taker. He's sitting at 18 wickets for this tournament. Surely this boy is going places. The way he's bowling, while we're still concerned that Wayne Parnell is aging, because we're looking in as far as Proteas are concerned, we're still looking for that left arm seam bowler. It looks like Kwena Mapaga might just be that replacement for the aging Wayne Parnell.
As well, and I think our future captain Rabada. I remember how he
Yes.
used to grab wickets. So
Yes.
in that game against Sri Lanka, he impressed me as he also grabbed 5 wickets. So unexpectedly, so in fact it was 6 as the game progressed. So I was so impressed. So Shukri Conrad must look into this player. I think this is a player to the future looks bright for me. So we must just carry on with that particular momentum. So hopefully he will do well as this wonderful Super 6 is progressing and the completion of matches are taking place. But South Africa, I'm so happy. Although last time when we spoke, we were a bit struggling and under pressure. And with JLS method, at some point, to favor they were against us because of the opposition, the Scotland. But then we did well in the last game and managed to win that match.
Oh yes, absolutely. Kwena Mapaga is definitely one for the future. The left arm seam bowler. Wow. He is one of those bowlers who've got that attitude of you miss, I hit. That's what he does. But there is Kwena Mapaga at the left hand seam bowler. Still with the cricket, Proteas women side, I believe they are down under. They're touring Australia. What's happening in as far as Proteas women's side is concerned?
And by the way, they just lost against Australia in the T20 series. If I can just go back to that match midweek there on Tuesday where they played at Harvard there, they posted 162 for 7 after 20 overs, and then Australia also posted 163 for 5 after 19.2 overs. You can see that it was just tight and marginal, and they were going into that match as the two series they were clocked at 1-1 because they won the first series there on 18 wickets Australians, and then we came back as well where Laura Valvard was just impressive. They're scoring 58 runs from 53 balls. So, and we did so well in that game. So, and in this game, whoever was going to win there, definitely the winner. So Australia again, so they just proved them that they're not champions by fluke. So, and as you know, they've been dominant with regard to this wonderful T20 series, beating South Africa 6 times, which meant that the victory there midweek of that particular 2-1 series was the 7th victory against South Africa. So I think we need to do better going forward, but I think we still have an opportunity as far as the ODI is concerned, and it's taking place today, and also the second ODI on the 7th, and also the third ODI on the 15th. So let's see if our players can come to the party. But in terms of the head-to-head, we've met 110 times. I think we've got an upper hand a bit there, although marginally as Australia have won 50 times and we've won 55 times. So yes, Australia were just good when it comes to the head-to-head of the T20, but in this ODI, we stand a huge chance. So with the players that have been called there, they must just do well. The likes of Laura Fulvat, Sune Lewis, Masabat Atlas, those players are relying on to put our country on the map. So they must just redeem themselves. This is an opportunity to do so.
And let's hope our girls, Proteas, they will definitely come back to winning ways and at least level the series in their 3-match ODI series against the host, that is Australia. Let's hope the likes of your Laura Volvart, Sune Lewis, they will definitely bring women Proteas team back to winning ways, and hopefully we will level the series come the 7th of this month. Now we're moving away from women's Proteas team straight to the men's Proteas team. I believe they've got a date come tomorrow morning against New Zealand. I must say, the inexperienced Proteas team that's touring New Zealand.
It looks like our very own Shukri Conrad is trying to experiment things. As you know, majority of players are currently participating in the Betway SA20. So, and they've realized that this Betway SA20 has got a huge lot of amount where the winners will be awarded 34 million. And so you see all the players participating from their different clubs there. So with the likes of Kagiso Rabada, MI Cape Town, we saw Henrik Klassen. I can name them all until the day ends. But then let's see if the likes of Flicken Peterson, this is a player who survived during the last test against India. So those two, they must just leave those uncapped players, 7 uncapped players that I saw to do well. So, but it's not going to be easy. New Zealand is also another team that always gives us a tough run for our money. But with that, it's good luck to them. So hopefully when I come in, definitely I'll bring the feedback of that particular match, of the test that we have taken place this wonderful weekend. So I can't wait as well.
Oh, so surely that inexperienced Proteas, the team that's taking on New Zealand out in New Zealand tomorrow morning, will definitely need more than luck as they take on the home side. It is going to be a tough indeed, but we'll be watching that match with a keen interest. All the game, I believe it gets underway early hours South African time, around about 3 o'clock in the morning, if I'm not mistaken. Now, changing gears from cricket straight to tennis. Australian Open done and dusted. Talk to us. What happened there in the Australian Open?
Like I said last week, that the big fishes were bowed out, so put it out. So this time around, it was opportunity for Yannick Sinner to prove himself that he's just defeated Novak Djokovic. So which meant that as he also played in that semi-final against Alexander Zverev, that was Daniil Medvedev there, and he wanted to win that one 3-6. He lost the first set there, recovered from the second set 7-5 and 7-6 as well as 8-7. So on the day, I don't know what happened to Alexander Zverev as Daniil Medvedev won that one to go on to the final, and it was also left with Novak Djokovic up against Yannick Sinner, and it was a clash game considering the fact that during the ATP. So we saw in the round robin, Yannick Sinner defeated Novak Djokovic, but Novak Djokovic in the final, they brought in an A-tempo and his experience as well, as we know that he's got 25 Grand Slams and he's looking forward to up them up going forward. But it wasn't to be, as Yannick Sinner on the day, he was trailing that final against Daniil Medvedev. So where he was trailing the 2 sets, 3-6. I remember he had a set of there, 3-6, and he recovered from the third set, fourth set, and the fifth set on 6-4, 6-4, as well as 6-3. What a comeback it was. So
What a comeback that
what
was.
a comeback indeed was. Daniil Medvedev wasn't anticipating him going to bounce back, but then he surprised Medvedev by winning that one, and it was his first ever Australian title. So open there. So Daniil Medvedev had luck, and it's back to the drawing board for him. Let's see how they'll do when they will be approaching the Doha tournament that is taking place from the 19th of February.
Yannick Sinner was dead and buried, like you rightfully said, but he managed to find his way back at only 22 years old. What do you think might be the contributing or the driving factor for him to show that element of resilience, to bounce back from that 2 sets down and still come back and beat Medvedev, who was in the final for the sixth time, while on the other side, Yannick Sinner it was the first time that he reached the Grand Slam final, Mudim.
It was going to be surprising had he lost that match, because they would have said, how come you defeated the big giant there, but you struggled to beat the very own Daniil Medvedev, the one that, when it comes to rankings, the other one is looked at third, which is Daniil Medvedev, and he looked at fourth, so you should do well. So I think the confidence that he had against Novak Djokovic is the one that made him to become the champion, so he realized that he can do it. I think he studied those two oppositions so well. So by then, I think it looks like he allowed Daniil Medvedev to consume too much energy, and then when he comes up on the third set, he started to up his energy, because every set after its completion, you go and drink water and prepare yourself so well. So that's what he did. So that he just showed class there. So because I think the age difference between the two, it might be 4 or 3 years there. So but very interesting.
Oh, very interesting indeed. I know we did a look at this discussion of Sabalenka cruising over Zheng. So surely it was an easy game for the number 2 ranked Arina Sabalenka over Zheng in that women's final.
Then Sheena and Queen there. So by the way, she was defending a title, and I think that the turning point was when she defeated Kokov with Kokov. So we thought she was going to go all the way to the final, but it wasn't to be, as Arina Sabalenka brought an A-tempo experience, and she was looking to defend the title as well. So with his Zhang Xinan, so she also brought in a surprise there by going to the final. So but she deserved this title, Arina Sabalenka. So as one of the players as well, managed to win this one. I think a home girl there in 2012 and 2013. So she's following in her footsteps as well. So with that, it was just well done to her. So I never saw it coming as well, but she really deserves this wonderful title.
And then still with the tennis, I know I did ask you this question. It was off air. I believe we had a discussion last weekend. Now about Novak Djokovic. Is it too early to have the Novak Djokovic retirement discussion? Can we have that discussion now, or should we pack it?
Like last week, I remember you asked me if it's too early to start showing that it's getting old and stuff, and I told you let us wait for the next tournament. And once the next tournament he struggles, so that's definitely that those are the shows signs of showing that age is starting to catch up with him. So we're still waiting for the Doha tournament. I think I can't wait. We'll also alert the listeners of what will be transpiring going into that wonderful tournament. And I think he'll want to redeem himself. Novak Djokovic is a player whom when I observed him, doesn't like to lose two tournaments of the trot. So I think if he was to meet Yannick Sinner, he want to settle the score. And there's also Alcaraz who went off way early as the knockout stages were starting there. So it was unexpected. So, but with that, I think let's pack it for the next tournament.
Still with the retirement discussion, Rafael Nadal seems to be not getting it right in as far as the injury is concerned. So will age and everything catch up with Rafael Nadal?
As we said, that he is an injury prone. So we look forward to this wonderful Doha. I think he might participate in this wonderful Doha because from the news that I saw midweek, it was said that he's ready and he's recovered. So we don't know. So because of any time when he's trying to prepare himself for this big, massive tournament, he gets injuries. So hopefully it's not the case with this wonderful Doha that is coming in the next coming 2 weeks. So he must just make sure that he catch up as soon as possible because I think he's missed a lot.
Oh, he has missed a lot indeed. Now, changing gears from tennis, coming back home to South African football, sports rather, that is rugby. We saw the Yak Skate up last weekend where the Vodacom Blue Bulls welcomed their crosstown rivals in the form and shape of Emirates Lions in Modimo.
It was just tough on the day where marginally so they managed to win that game by 35 to 28. So it was as you know, Pretoria versus Joburg match there. So we never saw them going to bounce back, but at least I think push them so that they can be able to go as far as number 4 is concerned. When it comes to the league, I will just come to each Soti where they were going to that match against the Lions on number 8 on the log. So and the Lions as well, they've not been doing well, so they need to start upping the tempo. So in terms of the log standings, Leinster are still at top. The one that is Yakina Ber in charge of the club there, as you know, is doing well in the URC as well as in the Investor Champions Cup where he finished also top of the pool there. So and he's currently going to play in the last 16 against Leicester Tigers. We'll have to wait and see for that game when it comes by. So this time they are rooted first on 34 points in the Vodacom United Rugby Championship, followed by Benetton on 32 points. You can see that after 19 matches that all the teams have played, there's still a big battle there. So even last season we saw them rooted top for quite a while, but they cracked during the knockout stages. So I think they'll want to win themselves going forward. And at number 3, we've got the Glasgow Warriors there on 31 points. You can see that there's not much gap between them and the Leicester. There 3 points difference there. The Vodacom Bulls at number 4 on 30 points. Then there's Ulster at number 5 on 28 points. There's Thomas at number 6 on 26 points. Then Edinburgh at number 7 on 26 points as well. And lastly, the Ospreys at number 25. So, and by the way, the United Rugby Championship will resume next weekend. So in this current weekend, we've got the Six Nations matches taking place. Yes, there's Italy up against England at 4:15, and then the Wales up against Scotland at 4:45. If I can just go back to top 14, I should say. Top 14 involves the teams that the majority of them are participating in the what we call Investor Champions Cup, where we saw the Pepin there up against the Racing 92 of the Siakolis. The matches are taking place today at 4 o'clock. There's Clermont up against Lyon at 6 o'clock. Paul up against Castres at 6 o'clock as well, followed by the defending champions La Rochelle up against Montpellier at 6 o'clock. And there's Oyonnax up against Stade Français there at 6 o'clock. And lastly, there's Toulouse up against Bayonne at 10 o'clock. So tomorrow, there's only one match taking place. It is the Toulon up against the Poitiers. So in terms of the log standings at the top 14, the Racing 92 of Siakolis, they are topping that log on 40 points, having played 13 matches, followed by Stade de France on 37 points. All the teams have played 13 matches alongside this Poitiers. Poitiers are level on points with Stade de France. There's Toulouse at number 4, 36 points, alongside Toulon at number 5. And at number 6, we've got the Pau at 32 points. There's Castres at 31 points, and also La Rochelle. La Rochelle need to pull up their socks because they're the defending champions, currently rotated at number 8 on 31 points. They're just like the Munster and the URC, so they're not doing well. They're currently seated at 11th, so which is not looking good. They need to make sure that they finish within the top 8 as the defending champions, so that when the knockout stages comes by after 15 matches have played, they are able to come and defend their title. So failure to do that, they'll find themselves outside the top 8 there. So yeah, those are the matches that are taking place. And with regard to the top 14 and the Six Nations, so when I come back, I'll bring back the results and I still look ahead to the resumption of the United Rugby Championship, where there's a big match. Bonelo, the Ulster will host the Benetton, that is on top of the clash battle, the number 1 versus number 2, and then the very same result that I've just read, Vodacom Bulls up against the Lions. This time around, the Lions will be hosting Vodacom Bulls. I think they'll want to settle the score. You can see that it was so marginal the way they lost. So I'm thinking maybe they were just depressed of that. How come we lost by 2 points against the Vodacom Bulls? But at least it boosted them, the Vodacom Bulls, to finish so far to sit fourth on the log. At least they're amongst the teams that will finish this in the top 8, so that they can be able to play for the knockout stages and also look ahead to next season when the Investor Champions Cup will be taking place, because majority of the Investor Champions Cup are considered teams that finish within the top 8 of the URC, as I've spoken about the top 14 teams, top 8 as well, the side, and also in France as well. Yeah, I think it's interesting so far, and it's good to go deeper as far as rugby is concerned.
It is interesting indeed, especially if you look at the Six Nations tournament which got underway last night. We saw the defending champion, that is Ireland, visiting the second, the last season's runners-up, that is France. Wow, what a performance by the defending champions, that is the Ireland, when they thrashed the last season's runners-up of France. They beat them by 38 to 17. Surely these teams, they did definitely look forward to last night's game after following that disappointment in the last year's Rugby World Cup, especially with Ireland failing to reach the knockout stages and France being the host, being booted out by the eventual winners, the mighty Springboks. So surely both sides, they were hungry and raring to go last night, just to try and redeem themselves for following their last year's Rugby World Cup disappointment.
Very true. And if I remember very well, there was this top 4 that they played. Also, Djibouti was also involved here alongside Argentina. So we couldn't win that wonderful tournament there. But unfortunately, if I remember very well, the very same France were champions. So they need to pull up their socks at France. So they still have 4 matches to play with the likes of Italy, England, Scotland, as well as Wales. So it's looking interesting so far. So let's see who will be the champions going forward.
Yeah, we'll be following the Six Nations with a keen interest and see whether Ireland, they do manage to go all the way and defend their trophy. Now, changing gears from rugby straight to football, starting here at home, like they always say, charity begins at home. Talk to us, what's happening in as far as DSTV Premiership transfer news are concerned, Modiba?
Very interesting, because we also saw in Cape Town Spurs there, they signed a former Richards Bay player, Vekatloma Pate from Lesotho there. So I think the Ernest Middendorp, by the looks of things, is trying to beef up his defenses. They also signed the former Respect United Mohamed Johute. So they were not looking good as far as the Clayton Daniels and Nazir Ali, as they are getting old and defensively they are shaky. So this is one position that Ernest Middendorp has just big stuff. And we know that they've also signed the Presley Maduna, as I announced the last week, of Amazulu. So let's see if things will definitely go well. And we also spoke some about the likes of Tembinko Silodge, and then Kamapiliat managed not to sign a contract with SuperSport United, as he was told to stop training with the club there. So I think it has to do with the matter of a salary agreement there. So as he always demands a lot of salary, so far not much as far as the transfer news, but also at Solos there we saw that Daniela Bay, Tlakusana Mtetra and Lanjini Palani, they've came back to the team, so they're trying to fix the end there. And then there was a funny thing that came in Sponello during the week, that Steve Compella was not told to come and coach the team, as the players have gone back to training. Yes, he said that he never announced to him. So I was like, no, this is an indirect dismissal, so which means they're going back to the same route that they had last season, where they told Musa Nyatama to coach the club, assisted by Chako Mototo. So it was so unfair, taking from how they handled the situation. It looked a bit unprofessional there. David Mohashwa, I think, how do you call the team? Coach there was doing well at his previous club, Mamelodi Sundowns, although we also had the news that Rulana Mokoena was not in good terms with Steve Compella. So so far, I think he's a free agent. Let's see if the move of dismissal will definitely be announced officially.
Yeah, we'll be watching the space indeed, that what happens between Swallows head coach, that is Steve Compella, versus his Can I say his former employers or current employers? That is as follows. We don't know exactly. He also doesn't know where does he stand in as far as the coaching job of Morocco Swallows is concerned. That is Steve Echombela. We'll be watching that space. How does that? How do those news eventually pan out? Now, moving away from DSTV Premiership news straight to West Africa. That's where Africa Cup of Nations 2023 is taking place in Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. Modiba.
Very interesting there. So if I can just bring the listeners the results of the last 16 matches that took place last weekend. We saw Nigeria winning 2-0 against Cameroon. Nigeria just strong defensively when I watched them. It's very solid. They only conceded 1 goal so far in all of the matches they've played. So we also saw Angola thrashing Namibia 3-0 there. So Namibia, as we spoke in the studio there about them coming from the back door. So this time around, they were humbled so badly there by Angola there. So and we also, in terms of the fixtures that are taking place again, Equatorial Guinea managed to win 1-0 against. Guinea managed to win 1-0 against Equatorial Guinea. This is the same Guinea that came via backdoor, but they surprised the Equatorial Guinea. That's shocked the host Ivory Coast 4-0. I remember so well in the last game of the group stages there. Then Egypt played 1-0 draw against the DR Congo, but unfortunately they lost 8-7 on the penalties there. So very surprising because Egypt, as we know, they are 7 times champions. So we weren't anticipating them to lose this one. And then there's also Cape Verde up against Mauritania, where they scored 1-0 elite penalty there by Cape Verde. And then Senegal against Cote d'Ivoire, it was a 1-1 draw, but Cote d'Ivoire managed to win on penalties 5-4 there. So as the game played out until extra time, and it was a big game there. Morocco up against Bafana, where South Africa won by 2 goals to 0. What a game it was.
What a cracker.
What a crack of a game. And yes, the scoreline is not a true reflection of the match because Morocco, when I watched them, they were just dominant in terms of creating chances. And I'll give credit to Ronald Williams with the brilliant saves that he made in that game. Mutobim Vala as well. He was just solid on the day. So although he conceded a penalty, but I wouldn't fault him because we were just under pressure with the way he was trying to clear the ball. So, but I think Ronald Williams as well deserves credit by intimidating Hakimi there. Hakimi missed the penalty, was denied by the crossbar. As there was also one of their players, Amrabat, there, who was red carded there for Morocco. So, and after tackling Teboho Mokoena, guess what? Sponello took that particular free kick and put it in the back of the net. And then it was that's the final nail in the coffin of Morocco. So they never saw it coming, and they were just in tears, the fans and the players. So they couldn't believe it because currently they're the first ranked team in Africa. So, and yes, South Africa, they're playing on transition. I think what I like is the fact that they don't concede, which they stand a good chance because majority of teams that plays on transition, whenever they concede first, they struggle to come back in the match. And so far, so good. I think with Evidence Mahopa, I think he's been under criticism. I'm also one of them who at some point criticized him for not giving any impact up front. But in this game, he was given a great layout pass there to punish them. So yeah, this will build the confidence as it's within the media that some of the fans can like you and some of the fans cannot like you, and you can't force the fans to like you at all. So but he will continue working hard because the coach is giving him the support that is Hugo Bruce. So but then yeah, there's also the big matches that will be taking place. So we'll have to wait and see this coming. And speaking of that, we saw Nigeria winning 1-0 against Angola. This is the same Angola which was buzzing, winning heavy scorelines. But yesterday night when I watched this game, Nigeria were dominant. They created chances and
very dominant.
Yeah, they had 2 goals disallowed, and Angola, I don't know what was happening. They didn't come to the party when I watched them because defensively Nigeria was solid. And you look at their goalkeeper, Stanley Nabali, who's currently playing for Chippa United. He made some brilliant saves, and it was his 4th clean sheet. So far, he's got more clean sheets than any other goalkeepers. I think Ronald Williams comes second with 3 clean sheets. So it's going to be interesting going forward. And then we saw DR Congo winning 3-1 against Guinea. So in terms of the fixtures that are taking place, there's Ivory Coast up against Mali at 7 o'clock. And then as South Africa, we are playing Cape Verde. It's going to be a humdinger of a game. And there's tomorrow, Ivory Coast will host Mali. And as I've said it, those are the fixtures for this wonderful weekend. And then the quarterfinals, in fact, the semifinals are taking place on Wednesday, 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock. And then the 3rd and 4th place next week, Saturday. I think we'll definitely do the preview when we come on air. I think I'll definitely be in studio next week. We'll do it live on the studio and also the final as well on Sunday.
Going back to Bafana camp, there is Percy Tau. What's your take on Percy Tau's overall performance of to date?
So far, not impressive, but It's a player whom, when I watched them, while we're trying to defend the lead there, so he was always involved, at least playing defensively, but his positioning is not doing his duty because we expect him to dish out close passes and also try and play penetrative left right wing position in terms of cutting inside, but he was not doing that. So I think ever since he missed that penalty, he's never been the Pesitao that we saw, although he scored against that second match there in Namibia. So it was a bravery of him to do that, but he needs to pull up his socks going forward. This performance wasn't impressive, very questionable, but let's see. Maybe today he will definitely come to the party. But I'm just hoping that the very same Bafana, they don't put, how can I put this one, put their heads very high by losing this match. Because complacency might play a key role in this wonderful match, but they are playing against a team which has been on form, where they finished top of their group. And you look at how, in terms of the head-to-head, the two sides have met 5 times and won 2 matches. They've also won 2 matches, and we are separated by a draw as well. So you look at Cape Verde leading into this wonderful quarterfinals. They've won against the likes of Mauritania 1-0. Ghana 2-1, as well as Egypt they're playing a draw there 2-2 and they won 3-0 against Mozambique. You can see that they are a free scoring side, and the key players on the day, Ryan Mendes as well as Kevin Pina, will be very key in this match. So South Africa must just make sure that they don't concede goals, just like they did against Namibia, Mali, and Morocco. So if they can just keep the game at the goalless, they can get a half chance, because they are playing on transition with regard to moments, then they can be able to win this one by 1 goal. If not, the game will definitely start to extra time, and they'll definitely win on penalties because I trust Ronan Williams.
Oh, I hear you say you trust Ronan Williams. Looking at tonight's game, we've seen Bafana since the game of Namibia. They've been sticking to the same starting 11. He did it with Namibia, Tunisia, and Morocco during the week. Tonight we are playing, I think, a complete different team. What do you expect? Do you expect Hugo Bruce to start with the very same starting lineup, or do you expect any changes?
They always say if it's not broken, why fix it? So I think it's definitely going to start with the same lineup. So because those players, they've won midweek 2-0. Although the play wasn't impressive for me, we're always under pressure. But
Yes.
we made sure that when we got moments on transitional play, we exposed Morocco. So with the same Cape Verde, they're playing a pressing game. They're a free scoring team. So if as long as we don't concede a goal, we stand a chance of getting something in this match. But if Cape Verde score first, I foresee us going to struggle the entire match. But then I'm confident that we can go all the way until the extra time with the players from Mamelodi Sundowns that I've seen 7 to 8 of them starting the match. So I think they're bringing that experience that they got during the CAF Champions League as well as the African Football League. So that experience is very, very key. You get the likes of Thapelo Morena, very good, a versatile player who's able to play as a wing player. My only concern is where the left back, where Mudi was operating, because Morocco were trying to expose us on that flank. So
Especially first half.
First half especially, so that's why I was so worried, because they almost scored the goals in that flag where Primutiba was operating. At some point he was also cautioned. That's where I think Morocco made a wrong play. They could have pressed them hard, because also Motobim Vala got a yellow card. So in such instances where defenders are cautioned, you need to capitalize and press hard, because any mistake can come, a penalty and a red card can come. So but they didn't do that at some point. So I think of the fact that they were just missing chances, just not their night on the night. So, but hard luck. But South Africa, well done, and they did it well by absorbing pressure and make sure that even against Cape Verde, they must just make sure that they don't concede a goal, because this is a team. If I remember very well, when we played last in the World Cup qualifier, we lost against them. So we've got a score as well to settle. But we must not be. One thing that I've seen with the Bafana, they like to sit backs, which can create danger. Especially you try to recover. Where after you take time to settle. For me, when I watch them, that's how they unfold, and they must not get carried away by the win that they got midweek. So they must just go all out there, just like they did against Namibia, by pressing hard and making sure that when the chances come their way, the likes of Chambazwani, they're able to convert. We also spoke about Spopelos Tole, who's giving Chambazwani, Pesitao, and the very same Pesitao to overlap. Go forward, yes, I wanted to overlap and try to cause havoc for the oppositions there.
You rightfully mentioned that Bafana they take time to cycle in the game. Looking at Cape Verde, the way they launch wave after wave of attack in their games, Don't you think that might pose a huge threat in as far as Bafana Bafana is concerned? Because even in the Mauritania game, we saw Cape Verde pummeling Mauritania's goalkeeper, shot after shot, almost the whole 90 minutes. Yes, it was Cape Verde versus Mauritania's the Mauritania goalkeeper in my eyes. So looking the positiveness in the Cape Verde team, surely that might cause problems for Bafana Bafana should they take time to cycle again come tonight.
Most definitely, and they can even concede in this match if they are to do that, because I've seen it, they've done it even against Mali, so they couldn't.
They started slowly as well.
Yes, they don't settle early as the first 5-10 minutes of the game. They start coming into the match 15 minutes later. If I can also take you to the match against Namibia, remember where the Namibia missed three clear-cut chances.
Exactly. In the opening part of the game.
Exactly, so we couldn't settle. That's why it's a huge concern. Even against Morocco, same thing happened. We couldn't settle. And if Cape Verde were to look at that weakness, they might want to capitalize on it and make sure that they punish us. So, but then looking into the game tonight, they must win. Failure to do that, you lose, you're coming back home. But it's not going to be easy by the looks of things. So let's wait and see. And because if it's not that a winner between us or Cape Verde will definitely meet Nigeria. Nigeria are awaiting the opposite opponent here. So it's going to be tough more. So let's wait and see going forward.
It is going to be tough indeed come tonight against the Blue Sharks of Cape Verde. The very, very attack-minded Cape Verde, one must say. And then still with the Bafana Bafana, or with the AFCON rather, there's been this discussion of local players versus European-based players. Bafana Bafana, they come with local-based, South African-based players. What is your take? Is this European discussion overrated, or is there something to talk about there in as far as local-based players versus European-based players is concerned? That discussion, Modibo.
Currently, the only international player is Pepelos Tole. So far, it's all local players. You are right. So I think for me, it's twice. Remember, we used to in the past we used to call a player called Bongo Kushangwani who's playing abroad. So and he was just unhappy with the decision that was made by Hugo Bruce of not calling him. So we also had that Njabulo Blom as well. Cassius Mailula. He spoke about lack of fitness, whereas he's not playing at his current team abroad. So, Njabulo Blom is a disagreement with the team, and also him not wanting to represent the country. Remember this other Lyle Foster as well. So, taking his decision to represent his team before Bafana Bafana. So, it's just complicated for me when I was discussing. But having said Hugo Bruce himself stating that the players, some of them, they are unable to come. So it forces them to stick to local players with only one abroad player. So so far so good, they're doing well, and let's see, because they've got experience as far as the Champions League, African Football League is concerned, as majority of the players in the lineup are from Mamelodi Sundowns. So they know how to play such competitions. And what I like is that they're not intimidated by the crowds. And the crowds at Ivory Coast, there are so many. So, and they're always able to soak up the pressure, play well. The only weakness I've seen, not scoring enough goals, and also making sure that they take time to settle in a match.
Oh yes, indeed. Let's hope all those points that you have just raised, they will be addressed come at 10 o'clock tonight when Bafana Bafana lock horns with the Blue Sharks of Cape Verde. Still with the Africa Cup of Nations 2023 that is currently taking place out in Ivory Coast. The overall winner, Modiba, your prediction? Is your money?
You mean
I'm not going to let you
go. Cape Verde?
No, overall winner, the tournament. Come next week. Who's going to lift the trophy?
It's a tricky one, because at first I thought Senegal were going to win. Unfortunately, they fumbled by conceding that penalty against Ivory Coast. So currently, Nigeria or Ivory Coast, I think one of these two will definitely be the winner. But I can also add in South Africa, but I'm just worried about us going to face Nigeria, because you remember our history against Nigeria. They have always been our whole team. It's very, very bad. I think the only coach who managed to win against Nigeria was Six Mashaba, as well as Stuart Baxter. I remember in that Nelson Mandela Challenge that took place in 2004, where we won 2-1 at Ellis Park Stadium. So up to so far, I'll go for Nigeria. When I watch them, they're a very solid side, well organized. There's a player with a mask there, Olisne. It's just fantastic for me. So yeah, and it's just scoring goals, 3 goals so far for the team. The goalkeeper Stonina Bali. So and currently is locally trending of the fact that Chuba United have tabulated a million amount of the fact that if Kaizer Chiefs was this is a team that are interested in the services of the goalkeeper, are interested, they must pay that amount. So the remaining of Daniel Akpe, remember he was from Chuba United as
Yes,
well.
yes.
Nigeria as well. He went to Kaizer Chiefs. Same thing. We might see the same scenario itself because currently there are rumors of the fact that Ichmele Nkune is being linked with a rumor to Skogo United. So let's wait and see going forward. But Tony Labali for me is impressive. So I think if he's going to continue with the very same clean sheet that he's kept, he might be the goalkeeper of the tournament for me. But let's not forget there's still Ronan Williams. So I think the game against Nigeria will have a huge say as to who's going to win this wonderful AFCON. But I think I'll stick with Nigeria so far. They've impressed me. They're solid. They're disciplined. They make sure that when they score first, you are unable to come back and equalize in a match.
Oh, yes, indeed. That's what our sports analyst, Modiba Peter, has just called it, that he tips Nigeria, the Super Eagles, to go all the way and win the current Africa Cup of Nations that is taking place out in West Africa, Ivory Coast, to be exact. Modiba, I don't know whether you've still got anything from your side, but the look of things looks like time is not on our side, but if you've got anything from your side, we can just quickly touch base with it.
Okay. I'll just alert the listeners about the EPL. There are matches that played midweek. There we saw Man City there winning 3-1 against Burnley, and then there was Tottenham Hotspur winning 3-2 against Brentford, and then Liverpool thrashed Chelsea there by 4-1, and then we saw on the first day West Ham playing 1-0 draw against Bournemouth, and then Manchester United the winning 4-3 against Wolves. Guess what, Bonello? Andre Onana was in goals for Manchester United. Very interesting there. So
Hi, Onan and Man United.
Onana. And he conceded 3 goals, although they've won. But I think he needs to pull up his socks going forward.
He's been conceding goals like nobody's business. It's nothing new. He's been conceding goals left, right, and center. That Onana.
Even the gear was much better. So, but I didn't know De Gea. You remember the goalkeeper?
De Gea from Spain, yes.
Yes, yeah, he was conceding goals, but compared to Andre Onana, hence you see Manchester United currently, they were outside the top 8, but with that victory, it takes them up to number 7. They're currently seated 7 on the log. And speaking of the log, the standings there, Liverpool are rooted first there, having played 22 matches. On 51 points, followed by Man City there on 21 matches played with 46 points. Arsenal on 22 matches played at number 3 with 46 points, and then followed by number 4 and number 5 there, Tottenham Hotspur and Aston Villa respectively, both on 43 matches. Points, but having played 22 matches. Number 6 we've got West Ham there on 35 points, having played 21 matches. Newcastle at number 7, having played 22 matches on 32 points, and then also Brighton and Hove Albion on 22 matches played but 32 points. So Man United are overtaking Newcastle, and Newcastle will drop to number 8, and Brighton or the Albion will go 9th. So in terms of the fixtures that are taking place today, Everton up against Tottenham Hotspur at 12:30. I think the game has just started now as I speak. There's Brighton up against Crystal Palace at 3 o'clock. There's Burnley up against Fulham at 3 o'clock. There's Newcastle up against Luton there at 3 o'clock. And then lastly, there's Sheffield United up against Aston Villa at 5:30. And tomorrow, there's a game taking place there. There's Bournemouth up against Nottingham Forest at 2 o'clock. Then Chelsea, I think they'll want to redeem themselves considering that 4-1 drubbing against Liverpool there.
Oh.
The Wolves who just lost 4-3 against Man United as well. And then Man United, they are playing West Ham United there at 2 o'clock as well. And also a big one, this wonderful tomorrow, Arsenal up against Liverpool.
What a crack of a game that's going to be.
Indeed, the top of a flash battle, number 1 versus number 3. So if Arsenal were to win, they'll definitely be on 49 points, and Liverpool on 54 points. So I think they'll want to stretch their lead. As you know, that Stella Penis will never walk alone at the Liverpool. So, and by the way, the coach has just announced that come the end of the season, club there, he will be leaving the club.
Oh, that is a great, big news indeed, I must say.
It was big news, yeah. So let's see. I think maybe he'll want to win the league title because he hasn't won the league title in a very long time. I think it might be last time when he won in 2019 somewhere there. So they'll want to improve as soon as possible. So he must just make sure that when he departs the club, he departs them having left them in good position of winning the EPL title. So it's going to be interesting going forward.
It's going to be interesting indeed. Yes, so by the look of things, it looks like Liverpool, they might just try their level best to give their manager, Jurgen Klopp, a lekker send-off by winning the English Premier League. We'll be watching that space with keen interest, especially that game tomorrow as they invade their Emirates Stadium, as they lock horns with the third place Arsenal. We'll be watching that place with a keen interest. That game, it's going to be a titanic clash indeed, Modiba. Thank you very much, Modiba, for your time. Let's keep our fingers crossed come tonight, especially for Bafana Bafana, as they lock horns with the Blue Sharks of Cape Verde.
Indeed, and when I come back, hopefully we might be in the final. Who knows? Because the semi-finals are taking place midweek, and even when I come back in studio next week, definitely we will be talking the DSTV Premiership return. So it will be returning midweek, and the final of the AFCON it will be on Sunday, the DSTV Premiership midweek, and also we'll be doing the preview as well and look ahead to the big one, Mamelodi Sundowns up against Orlando Pirates, Jabin Kosinot against his former team. I can't wait. So a lot to talk about even next week. So with that, it's a very good afternoon to you, the team behind the scenes as well as the listeners. And I am Mutiba Johannes Peter, the sports analyst for both Nirvana World FM. So it's a very good afternoon once more. A very good afternoon indeed to our sports analyst. There was Mutiba Peter, as always, giving it to us as it is without any fear, favor, or prejudice. Thank you very much to Mutiba once again. It's a very wonderful afternoon once more. I come a comment that I be hot of the blah. Thank you. Thank you. There was a Modiba Peter, as always, sharing, giving it to us as it is. We don't have to like him, but we just have to listen to what he has to say in as far as sport is concerned. Unfortunately, it is at that time of the show where I have to love and leave you, but as always, I leave you in the warm and capable hands of my colleague, that is NK, as he brings you easy early drive. That's between 1 and 3 p.m. So stay tuned and be entertained by my colleague NK, who will be taking care of the business between 1 and 3 p.m. I am Spanner Ngobo. Till then, let's do this once again. Come next week, Saturday. It is a bye-bye from my side. Till then, take care.